What if the ground beneath your feet could turn against you? Not someday, not slowly, but instantly. What if the thing that gave you life never promised to keep you safe? And everything you call stability, your plans, your control, your certainty, could disappear without warning? Because maybe the real question isn't whether life is safe, but why did we ever believe it was? Long before we tried to control the world, there was something that didn't need control. It didn't ask for permission to create, and it never promised to protect what it created. In Greek mythology, they gave it a name, Gaia, not just a goddess, but the ground itself, the beginning of everything, and the force that never needed to care whether anything survived. Gaia did not begin as a ruler. She didn't conquer anything. She simply existed, and from that existence, everything else followed. No permission, no decision-making, just creation. She became the ground, the structure, the base layer of reality itself. And then something important happened. She created the sky. Uranus, not as something distant, but as something that would cover her completely. And this is where the first imbalance appears, because creation doesn't guarantee harmony. Uranus didn't just exist above her. He controlled what happened between them. And what happened next, most people ignore. Together, they created children. But not all creations are accepted. Some are rejected the moment they appear. And that's exactly what Uranus did. The moment these children were born, he hid them, not somewhere far away, inside Gaia herself. Think about that. She gave life, and that life was forced back into her, trapped, pressing against her, growing without release. And here's the question. How long can something contain pressure before it breaks? Gaia didn't explode, not immediately. Pressure doesn't always break things right away. Sometimes it changes how they think. And that's exactly what happened. She didn't lose power. She realized she never had control over Uranus, over what he was doing, over what was happening inside her. And once you realize that, something shifts. Because now the question is no longer, how do I fix this? The question becomes, how do I stop this? And those are not the same thing. Gaia made a decision, not to escape, not to wait, but to act. And here's what makes this moment different. She didn't act alone. She created a tool, a weapon, something designed for one purpose, to cut. And then she did something even more important. She didn't use it herself. She offered it to her children. All of them felt the same pressure. All of them had the same reason to act. But none of them moved, except one, Cronus. And here's the turning point. The first act of violence in this system didn't come from anger alone. It came from direction, from permission, from a plan. Gaia didn't just react, she made it possible. And once something becomes possible, it rarely happens only once. Cronus waited. He didn't rush. He followed the plan. And when the moment came, he didn't hesitate. He attacked Uranus. And in one action, everything changed. Not just power, not just control. The structure itself changed. Because now something new existed. A pattern, creation, followed by suppression, followed by destruction. And here's the part most people miss. Gaia didn't stop it. She started it. After that moment, nothing returned to what it was. Not for Uranus, not for Cronus, not for Gaia. Because once a pattern begins, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads. Cronus didn't just take power. He learned from what made it possible. He learned that control can be taken, that threats can be removed, that fear can be managed if you act early enough. And this is where the pattern completes itself. Because the moment he gained power, he did exactly what had been done before. Not the same action, but the same logic. His children were born, and instead of protecting them, he eliminated the risk, one by one, before they could grow, before they could challenge him. Think about what that means. The one who was part of breaking the system became the system. And here's where Gaia returns to the center, because she sees it again. The same structure, the same fear, the same attempt to control what cannot be controlled. And now the question is different. Not, can this be stopped, but should it be stopped? Because this time, she already knows what happens next. She has seen the cycle. She understands the cost. And still, she moves forward. She helps again. Another child is saved. Another overthrow is set in motion. And just like before, the system shifts. But the pattern remains. Creation, control, destruction, again and again and again. So here's the real question. Is Gaia trying to fix the system, or is she the reason it never ends? And this is the point no one wants to face. The cycle doesn't continue by accident. It continues because it works. Creation brings existence. Control creates order. Destruction resets the system. And every time it resets, it starts again. Not better, not worse, just repeated. And Gaia is not outside of this. She is inside it, at the beginning, at every turning point, making the next step possible, not stopping the pattern, sustaining it. And here's the truth. The force that created everything is the same force that allows it to break. And this is where the myth ends, and something more uncomfortable begins. Because this isn't just a story about Gaia, it's a pattern, one we repeat without noticing. We build things, relationships, identities, beliefs about who we are and how life should work. And at first it feels stable, controlled, predictable. But then something shifts, something we can't control. And instead of letting go, we try to control it. We tighten, we react, we push back, not because it works, but because doing nothing feels worse. And that's where the pattern begins. Creation, attachment, control, breakdown, again and again and again. And the hardest part, we think we're fixing things when we're actually repeating them. When something starts to break, do you stay out of love or fear of losing yourself? Maybe the real danger isn't losing them, but losing who you become by staying.